What is going on, YouTube? What is going on, Kansas City? And what is going on, everybody? And welcome to the Beat of KC live stream. Tonight, we have something absolutely special for you. Blake will be joining us very shortly. He had some prior engagements going on, and it's very important. So he will be joining us. He's going to be coming shortly. I am super excited for this, ladies and gentlemen. The reason is because we are going to be doing a mock draft for you tonight while also breaking down some of the receiver position as we're going through this. It might get a little intense just because, obviously, mock drafts can get a little, honestly, they can get a little hectic, especially if the pace keeps up and you don't have some of those guys that are just sleeping on the pick. So it could get very interesting. Kind of the style and how we envisioned we were going to do this is I'll pick one, Blake will pick one. And before we kind of do that, we're going to be that guy. We're going to be that group of people that are kind of take a little bit of time before we take that pick. And the reason is because we're going to provide you guys our thoughts on what goes into that pick. We are going to be picking. I have everything set up. It's over here on the right-hand side. When that time gets a little bit closer, we're going to be popping it up. And we're actually going to be doing the mock draft live for you guys. You'll see it on the screen just like, we would. We are picking 10th. This is a 10-team league mock draft. Obviously, the points and the stuff doesn't really matter because it's just a mock draft. So super excited. It is a snake draft, so we're going to be getting the 10th pick and then turn around and getting the 11th pick. I like this spot. Me personally, if I'm in fantasy football and this is the style of draft that I'm doing, this is going to be through Yahoo. So this is, a platform that I do like using. I've talked about it in the last couple live streams we've done. Ladies and gentlemen, this is seriously like one of my favorite spots is the 10 spot. And the reason is because you get that dual combo there at 10 and then 11. Yes, you do have to wait a long period of time. That's why at times I do like picking in the middle at 6, but I really do like that 10 spot. You get a really good back-to-back picks. And I'm going to be excited to really kind of see how we do this because, Blake might pick somebody. I might pick somebody different. I do think we both agree on the same strategy as far as where we take a quarterback. I would not envision a quarterback for our draft being taken anywhere in probably until the 6th or 7th round. And I think we'll definitely talk you through that. I think that's where we'll be able to kind of show you guys through a mock. Realistically, this may be one where you start to see like those Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, even like Lamar Jackson. Some of those guys go off in the 4th or 5th round, but a true like style of draft. I'm gonna be looking probably 6 or 7 just because. But you never know what you're getting with these mock drafts. You don't know what people are going to try to attempt or do. So it's going to be exciting. We are definitely going to be talking a little bit of the wide receiver position. And I'm going to kind of go over real quick before Blake gets in here because we are going to talk, obviously. But, just from previous years, you got Devontae Adams, you got Tyreek Hill, you got Stephon Diggs, you got D-Hop. From I guess you could say an auction style draft, some of these guys are going for pretty good prices. And if I do recall, ESPN often gives you, I think it's $250 imaginary dollars to spend on these players. And at least I believe that's what it is for the league that I'm a part of. It really depends on your style. Like, are you wanting to go heavy on receiver depending on how you guys play? Often the leagues that I'm seeing, it's quarterback, 2 running backs. You get 3 receivers, a tight end, and a flex. If that's how you really treat, your auction style draft, are you wanting to go 3 really, really good receivers plus potentially even a really good flex as a receiver, and then kind of go a little bit soft on the running backs? Because, we haven't quite got to the running backs yet. We really just broke down the quarterbacks. There was a lot that went involved into that, and I think there's going to be a lot that goes into the receivers and truly the running backs because it looks like there's a lot of running backs on here. But if you figuratively go with a 4 style, I guess 4 heavy receivers, I mean, it shows right here. Devontae Adams is typically going for about $48 in an auction style draft. Out of 250, that's a decent chunk. That's just kind of an average or a projection of what they envision him getting. Now, let's say you wanted to back that Devontae Adams up with a Tyreek Hill. Well, if you're going to go ahead and spend 48, I'm going to say it's probably going to be anywhere from 50 to 55 for an Adams. Let's say you do the same for Tyreek Hill and you do another 50 to 55. You're basically cut almost all of your auction style money out the window, and you have to really start to manufacture a team off of that. And that's what's kind of unique. You got to start looking towards the bottom. And if that's your style, you're going to be looking at, because they really start to provide some dollar amounts. Like a Marquise Brown looks to be going for $3. One that I think is kind of underrated is Tyler Boyd there for Cincinnati. If Joe Burrows is on, he actually put up some pretty decent numbers. And I'd be kind of interested to see, now that they got T. Higgins and they got Jamar Chase, it'll be interesting. Does Boyd's stock go down a little bit because of that? Because they expect maybe Jamar Chase to get a little bit more attention, but that's something to definitely think about. But those are the types of guys that you could really start to look at down more towards the bottom. Another one that you could potentially add is going to be a likes of a Deebo Samuel there in San Francisco. They're showing like Jarvis Landry being down there, and Cole Beasley's one to really kind of look at. Marvin Jones Jr. finding a new home there in Jacksonville. So those are some of the guys that you can obviously look at. Now, one that I'm seeing on here that I'm kind of interested in as a rookie is going to be where did he go? Elijah Moore. It's going to be Elijah Moore. So that's definitely one that I'm very, very interested in. And this draft is actually downloading right now. It's getting ready to go live. So we're going to go ahead and pull it up for you guys. We'll get this thing popped up. Oh, Fantasy Plus is free. Oh, there we go. Let's go ahead and share the screen, get it popped up for you guys. But we're going to do this one, and bam, there she is. So as you guys can see, there's 2 minutes until the draft starts. So it'll be starting very soon. We do have the 10th pick overall, like I said. So we'll be going 10 and 11. It's kind of interesting to see how they have this broken down. So we'll kind of talk about this real quick. So as you guys can see, Christian McCaffrey, obviously, a lot of people's unanimous number 1. They say rank is number 4 overall. Dalvin Cook, obviously, right there, is expected to typically go pretty close to the top. And what this is kind of your top 100 and what they're envisioning to be your top 100. Some of these are kind of interesting. Like, I think Kamara could easily go up a little bit higher. I think Zeke could drop down just a little bit more, because I would expect Kamara to potentially catch a lot more out of the backfield. Again, this all depends too. Are you playing PPR? Are you playing traditional? I myself find, I really enjoy doing PPR, points per reception. And, it's definitely one that I'm going to be looking at. Now, one that I would be curious for you guys, and here's Blake coming in right now. Perfect timing, my friend. We are actually drafting in 56 seconds, as you can see. But we have the 10th pick. So I picked the 10th spot strategically. I don't know if you want to take number 10 or if you want to take number 11. Whichever one you want, I'll take the opposite.
Okay. Oh, so we're doing snake, and we got the last one? Perfect.
Yeah, pick the last one.
So I'll let you go the first one. I'll go ahead and take I'll take 11.
Okay, sounds good. So once this kicks off here in about 25 seconds, we'll kind of be able to break stuff down. I've told everybody, kind of our strategy is we may take a little bit of time just because you and I are going to talk it out. But then obviously the person picking is going to pick that spot. And then, but we'll kind of give people a little bit of our voice. I said I wouldn't expect you or I to take a quarterback anywhere even before probably the 5th round. So that's just kind of how – oh, wow, that was really loud. I don't know if you heard that, but it was in my headphones.
I did. Am I coming through okay? Does it sound okay?
Yeah, you sound good, man.
All right.
Sound good. Perfect. Oh, wow, we are going pretty quick. So Christian McCaffrey went first. Dalvin Cook, like I projected. If this truly is if people take this seriously, I would envision that being the same. Zeke goes 3, Kamara goes 4. This is moving quick. I like this. So we're seeing running backs go first. A lot of the time I do envision that happening. I really do, especially with this year. I think it kind of just depends, but I always have like a good feeling that those are going to be pretty much a combination of your first 4.
Yeah.
So Terry is obviously, come on, Terry.
Back it up, Terry.
Terry takes Derrick Henry. So the first 5 picks off the board are going to be running backs. First 6 picks off the board are going to be running backs. Aaron Jones goes there at 6. Very interesting. We're getting some very good looking receivers. I'm kind of liking our setup here. So we are getting ready to get the next pick. Every pick so far has been a running back. Nick Chubb was 7. Saquon Barkley was at 8. So number 9 is Johnny F. So I'm going to tell you guys real quick while we got 16 seconds. I'm thinking we're up. So we got 30 seconds. I'm thinking I'm going to go Travis Kelce.
Good pick.
I'm going to go Travis Kelce there. I think I could go Tyreek, but I really want to fill that tight end spot. I like Travis Kelce there, and we're going to be getting that kickback. That's the reason why I like that, because Blake can take somebody else if he wants to. So we're going to go Travis Kelce. All right, Blake, you're up.
I think I'm going to go ahead and go Stephon Diggs.
Okay.
That way
Stephon Diggs has been taken.
We got one tight end, the best tight end available. I took Stephon Diggs because I think the volume that he gets is tremendous.
Yes.
I know Tyreek Hill was on the board. Sometimes Tyreek is more of a weapon without the ball in his hand than he is with the ball in his hand, just the way that the Chiefs run their offense. I also don't like to stack too many guys on the same team. So I just thought Stephon Diggs, with the volume he gets, he was amazing for me last year in fantasy, and I think he's only going to get better.
Well, and that's one thing I really wanted to hit on too, as you and I kind of talked this through. One thing you guys want to pay attention to as you're drafting is you definitely want to pay attention to bye weeks. There's been years where I 100% was all about loading my team up the best I could and then come back and it's bite me because I drafted 6 guys with the same bye week. So I like what we got going here. We got bye weeks of 7 and 12. It looks like running backs are a hot commodity. So Jonathan Taylor went. Austin Eckler went, D-Hop, Calvin Ridley, Antonio Gibson's going. So
I will say if I didn't go with Diggs, my next choice would have been Eckler because I can tell the running backs are going hot. But I think when you snag a receiver a little early, there's going to be some running backs later for us to get in another back-to-back. So I would assume you and I are probably going to go back-to-back running backs here.
Okay. I might surprise you just because.
That's okay.
I really do like it depends on what's going to happen here. So I'm going to give you guys kind of my quick rundown real quick. So I'm seeing A.J. Brown. I'm still seeing Joe Mixon there. I think some of those guys are going to go. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 picks in front of us. So Clyde actually did go. A.J. Brown did go. So we're seeing kind of some of that develop out. One of the people I am actually looking at, and surprisingly, is either going to be Mike Evans or George Kittle. I kind of want to attack that tight end spot pretty heavy. We do have a receiver, running back, tight end flex. I do think that there's a good chance that Kittle gets a lot of targets. I'm going to kind of see how this plays out, though, because I do like J.K. Dobbins sitting there as well. As far as running backs, you got Chris Carson is a good one there. Projected to get 226 fantasy points. Man, I really do like our Travis Kelce, Stephon Diggs combination there. It's looking juicy. It's looking juicy. See, like we got Julio Jones sitting down there, like some of these guys, because we're gonna have back-to-back picks. Let's see, receiver. Where's the bye weeks? So Chris Carson is gonna be week 9. J.K. Dobbins is gonna be week 8, which isn't gonna hit. Let's see, what's J.K. projected to get? 279.38. He's projected to rush for 1,400 yards, 11 touchdowns. and received 382. I'm actually going to go ahead and go with J.K. Oh, my goodness. He drafted it right before us. Oh, man, that hurts. David Montgomery's sitting right there. The pressure is on. Should I go George Kittle? Nah.
That's on you, dog.
We're gonna go David Montgomery.
Okay.
So you're up. You're up, buddy.
I like your idea with what you were doing with the tight ends, but I'm gonna go snag Darren Waller.
Okay, I like it. Where's Waller? Let me search for real quick. He's got taken, brother.
Oh, he did. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I'm trying to read it because I know it's hard to see.
Yeah, you're good.
3 seconds.
Dude, sorry. I didn't know
you're good. It took us Terry McLaurin, which I'm okay with.
That's okay. I'm not mad about that pick.
I'm okay with that.
I was gonna go running back, so my bad.
That's my fault. I'm trying to. I know it's tough for you to see because it's. I wish I could zoom it in a little bit more. Maybe
it's all good. I got it blown up on mine, so I can see what you're doing.
Okay. I was gonna say if I won, I probably could cut us out of it. Can you see that better?
Well, no, you're fine. You're fine. I can zoom in on my screen, so you're
okay. So I do like that. Let's see what do they project Terry to get? So they're projecting him to get 1,400 receiving yards with 9 receiving touchdowns, averaging about 248 points in fantasy this year. Combining that with a Stephon Diggs who is projected to get 258, 1,400 yards, and 9.5 touchdowns. So you're looking at about the same combo there. David Montgomery is projected to go about 234, 1,157 yards with 9 rushing touchdowns. I'd say 10 because it's closer to 10. It received 338 receiving yards, 1 receiving touchdown. I like that. And then Travis Kelce, I'm interested because they're saying he's going to catch about almost 1,600, a little over 1,600 yards and almost 13 touchdowns. So, a lot of that is based off of an average. It definitely is an increase from the year prior. So, yeah, very interesting. We're seeing, again, a lot of running backs are just being gobbled up. So, probably good that we did take David Montgomery.
Yeah.
But we're seeing guys like Josh Jacobs sitting there who a lot of people have question marks around now that they went out and they added the guy from the Cardinals. That's
Chase Edmonds.
Who's that?
I'm sorry. Go back.
What's his name? The running back from that former running back from the Cardinals that went over to the Raiders. Let me see if I can find it.
Kenyon Drake.
Yes, Kenyon Drake. So with him being there, that's a question. But we are getting ready to come back up, and so I kind of want to. We are getting ready to be. We have pick 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're getting ready to go on 5. So we're kind of getting into that very interesting stage of do quarterbacks start to go. I do think like the top quarterbacks have gone. We're in rank really kind of like the 40s to the true 60s. Amari Cooper sitting there, but has been on the PUP list, I believe. DJ Moore sitting there. What is he going to do with Sam Darnold? Julio Jones, I kind of like that being there. But we have a flex, so we need a running back. Brandon Ayuk is sitting there. Travis Etienne. I don't know if I'm a big fan of what's going on down in Jacksonville. Mark Andrews is kind of low-key sitting there as a tight end. Mike Davis supposed to have a sneaky, pretty good year. Doesn't look like they envision him eclipsing 1,000 yards. Kareem Hunt, we know he's dual threat.
That was the guy that I had my eye on here. If he lasts all the way to your pick or even my pick, I kind of had him. I also like the unfortunate part is James Robinson last year was balled out for me many times. A constant 20 points, 20 plus point games. The only problem is he now has he does have Gardner Minshew, but they have a very tough schedule this year.
Yeah.
So I just don't know how much. I mean, it just seems to be that's their consistent go-to, but I just don't know.
Okay, so quarterbacks are going. Quarterbacks are going now for sure. Kyler's gone. I'm pretty sure like a lot of the things that we recap from the quarterback's perspective has definitely been hit on. Once we get through ours, because you and I think this is a good point to talk about it. We're up, but I think this is a good point to talk about it. This next go around after these two is where I'm actually going to look quarterback. So, man, this is tough. I'm going to ask you, we got 20 seconds. Would you go Tyler Lockett, Julio Jones, Adam Thielen?
Julio Jones.
Okay. So he's by week 13. We do not have a 13 yet. So I'm going to go ahead and add Julio Jones, which I never honestly thought would fall out of the first round. You're up, buddy.
Go ahead and give me Kareem Hunt, baby.
Kareem Hunt. We'll add him.
That's a solid-looking squad. Now, we do have our first double bye week. Julio and Kareem are going to have the same bye week. But
I'm seeing that. I'm okay with that. You know, when you do eventually, it has to happen. But ladies and gentlemen, this is exactly what, we've talked about is, look, we've had how many quarterbacks? Let's see if we can find out. So obviously Lamar's
had 3 taken.
So Lamar's missing.
2.
Aaron Rodgers is still there.
Or just 2. Patty and Lamar.
There goes. Oh, and Kyler. Dak just went. So we're seeing some. Here we go. Maybe we can switch over to the draft results. Yeah. So
there we go.
Let's see. Positions. Round draft board. Maybe. Yeah. Here we go. I like this right here. So we're seeing quarterback. What color is the quarterback position?
Orange. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got Murray, Allen, Jackson. Not the country singer, but Dak Prescott and Patrick Mahomes. So
so
pretty much around the area we talked about the other day about which quarterback can probably go.
See, and we're about to hit round 7, and that's where I'm looking. And Russell's still sitting there. I like Russell there. Now let's see if I can figure out how to get back. There we go. So Russell's still there. Herbert's still there. Aaron Rodgers is still there. Ryan Tannehill is still there.
Matt Stafford.
Sneaky low key, Matt Stafford is still there. So, we're going to
Tim Tebow still available to draft as a quarterback.
If it comes down to him blocking versus throwing footballs, oh my goodness, man, I've seen it. I just can't handle it. So I'm going to leave it up to you. Are you thinking a quarterback, or do you want to go one more?
I say go one more. Make sure you
like it.
Because since we do have a dual bye week with 2 guys that are probably going to be starters, I'd like to fortify that with somebody with an offset bye week that we can plug in that week.
I got you.
Because right now the quarterback depth is there, so we're good on that.
Okay, so what I'm thinking is I'm going Chase Claypool.
Okay, I like that pick.
If he can hold. So he's a week 7. That counters the 13. At least because Julio was our flex. So he would be able to plug in there. I really like Claypool. I like what he brings to the table. And I think that's one you and I can definitely talk about at some point. Kind of coming out of Notre Dame, a really good pick. He's projected to score 204 fantasy points, looking about a little bit over 1,000 yards. But I think what I like is his ability to go get the football close to the goal line, projected to get 10 touchdowns. So really like that. So I'm going to probably go Chase Claypool. If I can't get Claypool, then I'm probably going to look James Robinson, a running back from Jacksonville, even though I did say I would stay away from that. I really like James Robinson. And I think
took it right out of my mouth. That's what I was going to say.
I got you, man. Well, let's see what happens. I'm sticking with the Claypool pick. Hopefully none of these guys are on auto pick. If that's the case, we might miss out. But staying away from Melvin Gordon, staying away from David Johnson. I do like Mozart there, but we'll have to see. Come on, stay there, Claypool. So you want James Robinson on that kickback?
Possibly.
Okay.
Definitely somebody I've got my eye on.
Oh, we got him, maybe. Yeah.
There you go. Okay. Because we now have 4 wide receivers, I think I would like to go running back. I definitely like James Robinson. I'm also eyeballing Gordon and Fournette. Gordon was a goal line guy last year, and he put up some good stuff for the Broncos. Don't know how they're going to be this year, but they do have an easier schedule. I'm sorry, they actually have a harder schedule. Let's go James Robinson.
Okay. So James Robinson's projected. I like it. They did go get ETN, but I think that's kind of more of your pass catching. I think they're going to still let James Robinson eat the way he did. Last year he rushed for 1,070 yards with 7 touchdowns. did receive 344 yards with 3 touchdowns. I think my thought would be that the receiving touchdowns would go down a little bit, and I envision that the rushing yards will go up, trying to suffice for a rookie quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that the rushing attempts are actually going to go up because of Trevor Lawrence. Yeah. So, I think that he's definitely going to get a bulk of the work, and he's somebody that can both pass catch and do, I mean, he can do a little bit of everything. So I think they're going to rely very heavily on him. He also seems like a guy that's very hungry, so he's going to want to, beat what he did last year, and they might even be able to lean on him as a leader of this team. So. I liked what James Robinson. He was outstanding for me last year, and I do not see a regression. The only problem that you will have is if they do start to. I mean, if they are just absolutely atrocious and teams start to pull away, they're going to have to pass the ball a lot more. Now he typically is involved in that game plan, but that's just one of your. That's why I like that we got him as a third option at running back.
For sure.
Kind of monitor his success throughout the season. That way you can say, hey, because you might end up starting him over Kareem Hunt, by week two or three.
Yeah, for sure. And you and I are both pretty diehard Chiefs fans, but when it comes to fantasy, you almost have to kind of put the fandom out the window. And I'm eyeballing Justin Herbert here with this next pick to solidify that quarterback spot. We'll have a bye week of week 7, which with a quarterback, it does fall with 2 of our guys, but 3 of our guys. But I think with Herbert being plugged in there, you get that bye week out of the way at 7. You may take an L 1 week, but he's in there for the long haul after that. So that's where I'm looking. As a secondary option, I would be looking probably Stafford over Tannehill. I like the stat. I really do like where Stafford's at now. And I think I'm kind of curious, what do they got him at? So they're projecting 346 fantasy points, 5,284 yards, 32 touchdowns, basically 33, 12 interceptions, and then obviously probably low rushing numbers. I'm not even going to go over that because I just don't envision Stafford breaking away. But one to definitely look at too, week 11. I don't think we have a week 11. We don't. So that is definitely one to look at. I really like the Herbert pick, though. I think but they are projecting Stafford to throw more. You know what? I'm going to take a flyer. Let's do it. Let's go Stafford if he's there. Because Herbert, they're projecting to throw 4,856 yards, 34 touchdowns, which is 2 more. Obviously, you're going to get 2 more, 12 more points, basically, and throw 1 more interception. May run a little bit more, but they're almost identical in that, and they're saying Stafford's going to throw for almost 1,000 more yards. So I like that. He does have more weapons, in my opinion. Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, obviously. The big question mark there is the running game with Cam Akers going down with that Achilles issue. So they're going to have to definitely sling the rock, and with that division, they're going to be throwing it a lot just to try to keep up with what's going on. So I really like that pick.
I am a little surprised with them that they didn't reach out to Le'Veon Bell after the Cam Akers thing. I don't know if Le'Veon Bell's just being, people are kind of in consensus that he's just no longer a viable option, or if he's too much drama. But I was a little surprised I didn't see anybody reach out to him.
Yeah, I think they're done with him, man. I really do. So we are up next. I'm going to kind of use the countdown just a little bit so you can kind of see what you got, unless you already know what you're going with. Fournette's there. Logan Thomas is there. Cortland Sutton's there. Juju Smith-Schuster, Michael Carter, Tyler Boyd, A.J. Dillon, a good backup there in Green Bay. Gus Edwards, Zach Moss, Brandon Cooks. We're starting to get into –
I'm going to – sorry, cut you off.
All right,
I'm going to go ahead and take a sleeper, I believe, and I want to go, because you got the quarterback, I want to go Antonio Brown.
Okay. I got to find – there he is.
He's down a little bit. The only reason I say that is because I've been hearing good things about Antonio. He's now with Tom Brady, one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever live, for a second year. And that's something that Antonio Brown, that they said he's looking faster than he's ever looked. That, to me, is very intriguing. When you have one of the best receivers potentially in the league, who has had a rough last 2 or 3 years, but he now has been with a new team, a new system for an entire season, and won the Super Bowl. I think he's going to come back hungry, and this could be a year that he puts up that Brady had with Moss. And
Yeah,
to me, as our fifth wide receiver, or fourth wide receiver, that's great to take a flyer on.
most definitely. I like it. I like it. So let's see. If Juju's still there, man, I know we probably need another running back because we have right now our starter is David Montgomery. We have Kareem Hunt. We have James Robinson. So we probably need one more running back.
A little strategy here. If I didn't pick Antonio Brown at the last second, I was going to pick Herbert. And the reason I was going to pick Herbert is because now we have a quarterback that we could actually trade for if somebody wanted, like, let's say Lamar Jackson, like whoever had Lamar Jackson. Maybe Lamar doesn't start putting up fantasy points, which he didn't really that well. You can trade Herbert as a good trade bait and get something in return later that you might need.
Yeah, I like that. So I'm actually going to go ahead, and if this pans out, I'm going to go with Mike Gesicki. Get a second tight end, 14-week bye week. They are projecting him to get 824 yards and 5.3 touchdowns. I every time I've watched the Dolphins play and Tua's been their quarterback, he targets this guy a ton. So I like him as a secondary option. And so I think that's the route I'm going to go. I do like, there's quite a few players. We got Claypool, who I think's kind of sneakily taken over the one there in Pittsburgh. Juju's still sitting there. Tyler Boyd's still sitting there. Gus Edwards, they paid that guy a lot of money, so they probably expect him to at least run a little bit of the rock. Jamal Williams leaves the Green Bay and heads over to Detroit. I'm staying away from that cluster. That's just my opinion. Devonta Smith is sitting there. What are they projecting him this year?
I saw that.
1,007. Interesting. Joe Burrow is still sitting there. I'm kind of curious on that. 4,074, 31-10. Okay. With having the weapons he has, it'd be interesting to see what that ends up being. DJ Shark still sitting there. Dallas Goedert, the new number one tight end, projecting 890 with 6.
Kenyon Drake is still sitting there, and he's a guy that catches quite a few passes. So if you're in a PPR league, I know he is on a new team, but I think that running back group now, with Josh Jacobs being more of the rock toter and Kenyon Drake being more of the screen guy and pass catcher out of the backfield, that could be a potential, kind of a good 1-2 punch combo.
For sure.
I also love the fact that Jared Cook is still on the board at tight end. He is somebody that intrigues me, like I said, with Herbert, the way that they do like to use tight ends, and just the fact that he wasn't in a really good situation last year with New Orleans because of how many different options they had. But I think Herbert, now feeling comfortable with him as the number one, it could be a very nice connection.
So we're seeing projection-wise, Cook 555 with 5.3, and I get these are just projections. I think
that projection might be a little low just based off his last year, and he is technically getting older as well, so that could be factored into all that as well.
Man, this is tough. I like both of them had the same bye week. I think Goddard, but my difference is like when Wentz was there, he liked Ertz. I don't know how much Hurts. That's a mouthful. I don't know how much Hurts is going to be looking Dallas Goedert unless the play is designed for him. I think he's going to be looking receivers, and I think he's going to be obviously looking to open the field with his run game as well. So I think Gesicki a little bit more. Let's see because we're up next. Gus Edwards is still there. Zach Moss, Brandon Cooks, Dallas Goedert, Kenyon Drake, Jamal Williams, Michael Gallup, Curtis Samuel. Matt Ryan still kind of sitting there. That if you guys really truly are holding off on quarterback, that's always one to consider. I mean, almost 30 touchdowns still projected, almost 5,000 yards, still a good option there.
Can you scroll up just a tad on our team?
Yeah, I'm gonna go. There you go.
Perfect.
And I'm gonna go ahead and take. Where did he go? Oh, this is bad. There we go. Mike Gesicki.
Perfect.
So we got Stafford, Diggs, McLaren, Montgomery, Hunt, Kelsey, Julio Jones, Chase Claypool, James Robinson, Antonio Brown, and Mike Gesicki.
I think I'd like to go. Let's see. I'm thinking either running back or I kind of like
10 seconds.
Tannehill as well as
5.
Let's just go Tannehill. Have a nice backup just in case for some reason Stafford struggles.
Okay, so 13, 11. Okay, I like that. I like that. So we're gonna have to really start looking kicker, defense, and a final bench. So we got
Well,
yeah,
you
we're
know how I feel about defense.
yeah. So team defense, we got Tampa, Kansas City, Denver. I mean, most of those guys are still there. And you got to kind of incorporate special teams too with these. And you and I were both seeing what the Chiefs were kicking today, and it was Shank City. So,
Yeah.
and they're going to be facing some pretty good. I like Tampa still sitting there. I truly do. Their secondary in some aspects is kind of weak, but we know there's a lot of sacks to be had there, and when you apply pressure, that turns into some interceptions as well. I really like the Cleveland there, but the only issue is I'm curious to see how that translates week one. We know Patty is going to put up some big time numbers.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I like what Cleveland has. They've really revamped that defense and turned it into something kind of special.
Well, especially pairing Jadeveon Clowney with Garrett. Garrett, am I tripping? What's his name?
What for who?
The D end for the Browns.
Miles. It was Miles
Garrett.
Garrett.
Yeah, I was right. So the pairing of Garrett and Clowney together could be a volatile little D-line experiment that they got going on.
For sure. I do see that your guy Rodrigo Blankenship is still sitting there at kicker.
Hey, Mr. Glasses himself.
Yep, still sitting there. So that's an option. It just for me the kicker. You just want somebody consistent, man. To me, that's all it is now because it's just consistency. I don't think that you can really even say I want a team that scores a lot because that doesn't always happen. So it's the most consistent.
You usually want to. I mean, sometimes it's kind of odd. You don't want to pick a bad kicker always, but sometimes a team that might not be able to punch it in, the kicker's going to get a lot of work in. Teams that just can't quite put it in the end zone, and those are your mid-level teams usually, because they still want to put up points on the board. So I typically try to go with somebody from the mid-level if I'm picking them way down the line. But we have quite a few good kickers on the list right now, so that's not an issue.
So I'm going to go ahead and for my last pick. My last position, because I'm going to go ahead and fill that last slot. I'm going to surprise you. I'm not going to tell you who it is, and I literally just saw it. Nobody is seeing this dude. Where did it go? There. No. Did he get taken? No, he's still there. He's lurking there. I'm going to take him because he's going to definitely start on our bench with our squad. But I think he comes back with a vengeance. And the only problem is who is going to be throwing to him. I'll give you a hint. He likes crab legs. He likes the crab legs. He's the MVP for throwing touchdowns, and he's the MVP for throwing interceptions. We're going to go with Michael Thomas. Everybody's sleeping on Michael Thomas. He's on the PUP list, had surgery. Had some issues down there in New Orleans. I think he turns it around. It sounds like they're getting things ironed out. Michael Thomas there. And we're up.
At first, okay, I see what you were referencing now. I thought you were talking about Jameis Winston, but the way you were talking about him, I thought you meant you were going to draft him. And I was like, then you said Michael Thomas, and I was like, that's the wrong guy.
I was talking about who was thrown to him.
Yeah, no, I got you. Yeah, no, that could definitely be a good matchup. I'm going to go ahead and go and fortify position. I couldn't see the clock. My bad.
No, you're good. I don't even know. We got Kansas City Chiefs defense, baby.
Dude, that's so funny because I was gonna pick them the next. I was gonna say that they're my next pick, but I didn't know. I wanted to get somebody else quick, but that's perfectly fine for my pick.
So
they were turnover. They did really good job last year in turnovers and scoring defense, and we also know that their special teams can be dangerous if teams allow it to or are able to kick to them. So I'm very happy with that pick.
So our last pick is going to have to be a kicker because that's the only slot we have to fill. What's interesting to me is looking at this Chiefs defense. So last year fantasy points they scored 109. They only allowed 358, 32 sacks, 16 interceptions, and then 6 fumble recoveries. What's interesting is how can they – this is what kind of boggles my mind. So they're saying that they're going to give up more points allowed, but they're going to have 10 more sacks basically, which understandable, kicking Chris Jones out. We've talked about, some things that could happen there. But they're saying that there's going to be less interceptions. But how can you determine that 10 fumbles are going to be – that blows my mind. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they're factoring in what I do know that they have a very weak. I mean, in terms of strength of schedule, theirs is pretty weak. I mean, they play the Bengals, they play the Cowboys, whose defense I'm not particularly fond of. Packers defense is not very good. Raiders defense isn't very good. Washington football team, that could pose a problem, but I think their defense is going to get picked apart. So they're playing teams that. I'm sorry. Let me go back. The offenses of these teams aren't very high powered.
Yeah.
Again, Bengals, Broncos aren't very high powered. Raiders aren't very high powered. Cowboys, I'm still just not impressed. I'm not on the Dak Prescott train. I'm also not on the Mike McCarthy train. New York Giants is on their schedule. Washington football team's offense might be good under Fitzpatrick, but still I don't think it has all the weapons right now.
Yeah.
Philadelphia Eagles are probably going to be a toss-up this year just because you have no idea. So they could have quite a few games where they put up some good defensive points.
Yeah, for sure. Most definitely. I agree with everything you said. So our final pick is going to be, I'm probably going to go Matt Gay with the Rams, just because I do think that with that, what they have going there, I think there's a good chance points are going to be scored, and they're going to have good opportunities to kick the football. So we're going to get a good draft grade, I hope. It should give us the draft grade, so we're going to find out.
I mean, it's an A+++++.
So recap, real quick, we do have some comments. So Michael Darcy popping in saying, let's go, boys. He says Kenyon Drake. We missed it. I completely missed it. That's my fault. Josh Fan popping in. Got the crew in here. Yes, we do. Thunder. Yep, inappropriate. Smith. Really interesting name for your YouTube channel considering Tyreek is on the team. Gotcha, my friend. So you're drafting on Yahoo Fantasy Football. Do you really think Yahoo has any real idea what they're talking about?
No, Yahoo is garbage.
Yeah,
I would say is giving information on an updated daily basis. They are not that good.
Yeah, and it's just a good reference. That's the thing is, this is a good reference. So let's go ahead and pop out.
This is a lot more for the draft itself, not necessarily the platform on which to draft.
Yeah, correct. So our results, where are we at the very end? So we went Travis Kelce first, Stephon Diggs, David Montgomery, Trey McLaren, Julio Jones, Kareem Hunt, Chase Claypool, James Robinson, Matthew Stafford, Antonio Brown, Mike Gesicki, Ryan Tannehill, Michael Thomas, Kansas City Chiefs defense, and Matt Gay. I really like what we got. I think we have a good mix.
Draft, man.
Yeah, I think we have a very good mix. Let's see if it gives us a draft.
When you pick up Julio Jones in the 6th round?
Yeah, and I think that's what's incredible, man, because, Michael Thomas, I get what is going on, and I get that he's on the PUP list, just had random surgery to get his ankle, but, man, for him to fall where we drafted him 130th,
that was lower than I expected.
Still projected to basically get 1,000 yards receiving, and, when he's healthy, that dude gets targets. So I think he's definitely going to get a decent amount of touchdowns compared to what they're projecting. I could even still see him like in the 8 or 9, depending on when he comes back. But, man, that's incredible to get there as, he could easily plug in if one of our guys goes down. That's just an awesome situation there. I really like that. So let's see if they give us a grade. So I backed out. Well, doesn't look like it. Draft results, maybe. No, that was from my previous mocks. Let's see. Overview. It doesn't look like it. Maybe they send me an email. But that's kind of what we let's see. Maybe it's in here. Yeah, this is the one we just did. Yep. Nope. Never mind. All right. Well, that was the end of that. So good recap. I think that was definitely good to get it fired up, man. I mean, we were definitely rolling there, and that's kind of I was interested to see how that would go because sometimes you get those guys that really slow play it and you're able to talk. This was actually kind of picked up and moving. So
Well, and I like the fact that it was faster paced because you had to make more decisions on the fly instead
yeah,
of sometimes when you have a minute and 30, like in my draft that I was in, it was a minute and 30. So you had a little bit more time to go over things. And I think sometimes in that scenario, you almost overthink things because you're trying to crunch the numbers really quick instead of going with your gut pick. So in a 30-second draft, I actually liked kind of the fast pacedness of it. And
yeah.
I think it allowed for more gut picks to just go ahead and get in.
For sure, for sure. I liked how quick that was too. I think that really forced you to definitely get your picks in. You had to get your mind right, and it was definitely cooking. I want to see if they send us a grade because it talked about it, so I want to see if it sent anything. YouTube promotions. No, they didn't send nothing. So damn. Oh well. Well, we got about 15 minutes, man. I kind of want to keep this to a solid hour.
Yeah.
I wanted to go over wide receivers with you and kind of, I know you and I kind of pregame this a little bit. Maybe given like our top 10, and we'll kind of go off of each other. I'm going to go ahead first. My number one is definitely going to be Davante Adams. I had him 2 years ago when he really just did not put up the numbers. The reason why I think he's going to be my number one, obviously he's got Aaron Rodgers trying to perform at a high level, and he's trying to perform at a high level. He's playing for a contract just as much as Rodgers basically is now, and we know Adams is definitely going to perform, and that's a target that Aaron Rodgers is definitely looking at. So I like Davante Adams there for sure at number one.
I didn't know. Are you going back and forth, or
I'm gonna let you go next.
I think a consensus would agree. Okay. He's my number one. They have a very weak schedule, as well as Aaron Rodgers coming off the MVP season with a chip on his shoulder this year. He's going to want to win it out of spite for the Packers, I believe. And Davante Adams and him are an immaculate duo together. I think they're going to be the next, depending on how long Aaron stays in Green Bay and how much left he has, the next 2 or 3 years for them could be very dangerous. So I think this year they're going to try to build off what chemistry that they really capitalized on last year. And I believe Davante Adams is going to be another standout season like last year.
For sure, for sure. I just think that he's going to eat, man. I really do. My number two is going to be Tyreek Hill. I could easily put Stephon Diggs there, but I'm going to go Tyreek. And the reason is because I think he yet again is out to prove something. I think that he's going to eat again. We're seeing him get a lot of targets even in training camp. And I just think that Tyreek is going to be playing again for another contract that is going to be coming up here pretty shortly. So I like Tyreek. Their bye week isn't even until week 12. So that's another reason why if he can stay healthy, stay on the field, I'm definitely going Tyreek Hill for sure there at 2.
Okay. I am going to go Stephon Diggs at 2.
Okay.
Glad we got to pick him up. Glad I got to draft him. He's a guy that he was just nothing but consistent last year, as well as one of the top wide receivers in the league. The chemistry between him and Josh Allen, especially with Diggs being able to run the deep route and Josh Allen have an ungodly arm, up there with Patrick Mahomes. I think they're poised, and I think they're going to have a chip on their shoulder after last year, knowing that they could have performed better. Now, granted, you run up against a buzzsaw like the Kansas City Chiefs. It's always going to be hard. But I think Josh Allen wants to get back there. Just has a big old fatty contract. He was playing for it last year, of course, but now it's just motivation to say, hey, we're knocking on the door. Keep this up. I think the chemistry between him and Diggs is very good.
For sure, for sure. My number 3 is going to be Diggs. I think that they're definitely trying to get somewhere. And I agree exactly what you just said. Allen signed that big contract. They're trying to really, their biggest competition is going to be the Chiefs. So they got to find ways to overcome the Chiefs. And I think Diggs is going to be one of those guys. Again, he's got to stay healthy because if that's kind of the interesting thing is if you have a receiver that goes down on the opposite side, so let's say Beasley goes down or, someone else that's pretty decent on that opposite side, and your sole target's going to be Diggs, I think that's where his production can go down because they double him. And so, yeah, it'll be interesting. But my 3 is Diggs as well. So who you got for your 3?
So we switched. My 3 is going to be Tyreek Hill.
Got it.
For pretty much all the same reasons you added. The one thing that I think could be holding him back from that 2 spot is the fact that they do have a plethora of weapons. We know Clyde's going to be added more into the game. Travis is going to continue to ball. We'll see who's the number 3. He's really the number 3 option or 4 option. But the number 2 slot for the Chiefs, I about said Royals, but the Chiefs, I think that might be the only thing that's keeping him is just the fact that they have so many targets that his volume might go down a little bit. I don't think it's going to go down from last year, but down from the best years we've seen of Tyreek. So that's the only reason he's not at my number 2 spot.
Gotcha. My number 4 is going to be DK Metcalf. And after truly evaluating their receiving core outside of DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, they are a little rough. If this was a sandpaper, they are the grittiest of the grits. So I'm going DK Metcalf there. I mean, that guy ran down Buda Baker I think it was an interception, if I believe it was a fumble or something, but good freaking night. That dude can cook. We know he can go up and get balls. That's DK Metcalf. So I love what he provides from a fantasy perspective, and Russ definitely looks to him in a lot of situations. So if he stays on the field again, I think DK eats this year. Who you got at 4?
So at my number 4, I actually have DeAndre Hopkins.
Okay.
The reason I picked DeAndre Hopkins is because out of the 16 games last year, he had 9 games that were double digits, and he had 4 games that were over 15 points. Now, the only reason that typically that might not be super standout numbers, but that was also on a still developing and still struggling Cardinals team that was still trying to find their identity. And he goes out and puts up 1,000 yards and multiple touchdowns. So I think, 1,406, a little light on the numbers. I think those are going to – I think the touchdowns, or at least I think they might double this year. I think he might have 12 touchdowns just with the chemistry between him and Kyler Murray. I think that offense is better. I think the Cardinals overall are a better team now. And I have a sneaking suspicion that they're going to be one to be reckoned with in that NFC East division.
Yeah, for sure. Holy smokes, man. This one's tough because I like D-Hop. I like Kyler throwing to him, but I'm going to have to go with number 5 is going to be Calvin Ridley.
Okay.
I think with, Julio going to the Titans, there's a reason why they felt comfortable go ahead and moving Julio Jones, and that's because they know they have Calvin Ridley. They went ahead and drafted Kyle Pitts. They have Russell Gage, who, when you're talking about Gage, it's like, who? But they have him there as well, and I think Ridley has shown enough to really kind of, he can go out and eat each week and put up some points. So I do like Ridley there at 5. I think after I get your 5, what we'll do is we'll give a quick run off to 10, and then we'll wrap it up. That way, we kind of gave our top 10 and really plugged it in. So who you got at number 5?
At number 5, I'm switching in. I have DK Metcalf at number 5.
Gotcha.
Again, going back to the same things you said, him and Tyler Lockett are going to get a majority of the looks, and DK is going to get 90% of the red zone targets, and I think he's only going to expand off what he did last year. The only issue is, can Russell Wilson stay alive with the line that they have? So as long as Russell Wilson is the one throwing to DK, he is my number 5.
Alrighty, I'm going to give you a quick rundown to 10. My 6 is Terry McLaurin. I think if Fitzmagic is showing, he's going to be the starter. I think McLaurin can go out and actually ball out. A lot of people are talking high on the Washington football team in that division. It'll be interesting to see. I have Justin Jefferson there at my number 7. I was really thinking about putting him at 6. I really like what he has. Obviously he has Adam Thielen on the other side, but Justin Jefferson, he's definitely going to eat. And then to kind of wrap it out, I'm just going to kind of do a quick thing. I do have Keenan Allen in no particular order. Keenan Allen, Allen Robinson, Mike Evans, and then that's where I kind of start plugging in Adam Thielen, Julio Jones, like Brandon Ayuk and those types of guys. So a guy that I definitely have a sleeper, if I really had to put in the top 10, is going to be T. Higgins with Joe Burrow's coming back. I really like the T. Higgins targets last year, so he could potentially sneak into my top 10, but that's kind of what I'm thinking for 5, a little bit into 7, and then the rest kind of jumbled there. What do you got?
So at my number 6, I'm going to go ahead and put I think I'm going to go Julio Jones just because I think the new team, new face, is the chemistry going to be there? I think so. I think Tannehill's a very easy quarterback to work with. And I think now that they've got some actual weapons, he's going to – because if you double cover Julio Jones, you still have to deal with A.J. Brown, and you still have to deal with Corey Davis. So, in my opinion, I think those are guys that are going to actually allow him to be a little more freed up on the offense. So, I've got Julio Jones. My number 6 is going to be my number 7 is going to be Justin Jefferson. Yeah. He commands a ton of respect, and he also gets the ball in a heavy volume. And again, in no particular order, the next 3 or 4 guys, the next 3 guys I'd put in there is I'm actually going to put Robert Woods in there. I think if Stafford and him can get an early connection, Robert Woods just catches the ball. That's what he does. He's like a Keenan Allen. He just catches the ball. I'm going to throw Keenan Allen in there. He's going to be one of my top guys. I'm also going to throw in I liked Allen Robinson last year, so I think I would keep Allen Robinson in that just because he was a red zone guy for me as well. The difference is just going to be is Justin Fields, and this is the reason he's kind of teetering as my last guy, is him and Fields' connection going to be legit? Or is Fields going to be relying a little bit more on the running backs, a little bit more on the checkdowns, and making plays with his feet? So that might be the one that he's on the cusp for. So let's say he wasn't. Let's say he was out. I'd probably go ahead and throw in Mike Evans just for the simple fact that he will get touchdowns, and the second year with Tom Brady can only go up from there.
For sure. And I really want to recap because you and I mean, we've talked how deep the receiver position is and some of the names we did not even mention, man. And this is what's crazy. You have the likes of Amari Cooper, who, when Dak and him are on the same page, Amari definitely eats. DJ Moore, again, what is Sam Darnold going to do for a DJ Moore? Chris Godwin, we know Chris Godwin absolutely snapped off when Tom Brady got there. There's some other names. Tyler Lockett. We definitely mentioned Tyler Lockett, but
OBJ, we didn't even talk about him the whole time. OBJ is slotted down there now. Is he a top 3 pick for me? Probably not. Like as far as top 3 receivers or guys that you would in a draft style pick, but that's still somebody that can always end up making plays. And just the more time that he spends with Baker in that system, you just never know. He can always make something happen.
For sure. And, there's so many people. Joshua Byers obviously pops up in the comment section and says, Jalen Reagor. Jalen Reagor, I don't know about being in top 10, but Jalen Reagor definitely going to get a lot of looks there in Philly for sure, especially
Byers is the diehard Philly fan, so he'll just say any of his guys are going to be top 10. So
That's what's up. As we kind of get more towards the bottom, there's some rookies starting to pop in, like Jalen Waddell, down there at 46, projected to go. We're starting to see Mecole Hardman climb up there. Some of the other names, and that's what's crazy, man. You got
Deebo Samuel for San Fran. He had a great year last year, and he's not even being talked about.
Yeah, and then you got another rookie, Elijah Moore, which I've kind of talked about him being like potentially one of the best rookie receivers to come into the league out of Ole Miss. Definitely like what he's providing. Rashad Bateman, obviously having groin surgery, but they're projected him to be back. He's down there for Baltimore.
Antonio Brown is still out there. We got him on the fantasy draft, but
we did.
he's
We
the guy
did.
that, looked at right now as kind of like a number 3, which is so weird to think about that Antonio Brown's a number 3
Yeah.
in Tampa Bay. But that receiving core this year as a whole could be very deadly.
For sure, for sure. And then the rest, it really kind of starts to wrap out. But you could honestly get some decent still receivers depending on how deep your league is. You could really start to get those, at a certain point. So I like that. I like that. Buyer says CD though. I want this year, man. I tell you, CD Lamb is. I had him last year in fantasy, and I had to almost make a spot for him. A lot of the time, he was my flex just because. And again, CD could have one of those years. He did not have Dak thrown to him all year. It didn't. It clicked right before he snapped his ankle. So CD may be one of those guys that goes off. Definitely a good receiver. Fell in the draft that year. He ended up in Jerry's lap. Let's just be real. He did. So super excited about what CD can provide. Again, we didn't even talk about Juju, man. So
I'm going to give everybody possibly a deep sleeper. Emmanuel Sanders is in Buffalo now.
Yeah.
With Josh Allen. Is he getting a little bit older? Yes, but the man still catches almost every ball thrown to him, and he's a very good route runner. He's some guy that when Stephon Diggs is stretching the field deep or, just in those deep style routes, Emmanuel Sanders can still play.
Yeah, I agree. Even though he did us dirty, I like him.
I gotta keep my feelings aside when I have to give fantasy work, but also screw you, Emmanuel Sanders.
Even though I've had him in like every year. But well, man,
real quick.
Go ahead.
We could go down this list forever, so I gotta stop looking at it. But somebody we didn't even talk about making their debut in Arizona this year is AJ Green.
Yes. I'm not even seeing him on this roster, man. Probably because he hasn't scored a fantasy point in like 2 years.
Yeah. So he's fresh.
I'm not like I know that it all depends on what style of league you're in because there's some leagues where you're not going to really truly look at some of the rookies just because your league's not that deep. But another one that the Chiefs were projected to take. So I honestly looked at him quite a bit was Terrence Marshall Jr., who's found himself to Carolina. Don't sleep on him. If Sam Darnold is able to have time to throw in the pocket and he hits his targets, want to definitely look at is Terrence Marshall if your thing's deep. So we got one more comment and then we're gonna wrap this thing up. Yo, more people need to watch this goal. Most definitely, man. We're trying to do what we can. I think this has by far been one of the most funnest live streams I've ever been a part of. I'm glad Blake was definitely here to participate because that's my guy. It was really cool just to go through a mock and just, man, that was on fire, man. So I appreciate you coming on again as always, dude.
I'm ready to draft him. I just entered. Let's see. I believe I'm now in 4 different leagues for this upcoming season, and I have multiple strategies for everything, but I'm pumped. This mock draft got the blood flowing for sure.
Yeah, it got me going, and then usually I just start getting into way too many leagues. So also definitely let me know if somebody gets you back on that league so I can join up because I'm definitely down for trucking some smack.
Hell yeah! Are you down for skipping stones though?
Yes. You already know how I feel about skipping rocks.
Skipping rocks and what are they?
Banging bones.
Banging bones and skipping stones, baby.
Yep. Man,
for those of you who are completely lost right now, the ESPN 8 The Ocho was on the other week, and they had the rock skipping national championships on. And let's just say, I'm assuming the guy was probably from Kansas with how flat that stone was getting to the water. Just
old Greg was out there skipping. I'm old Greg.
Check out my mangina.
Oh, man, that takes me back. But, well, guys, we're going to wrap this up. We're going to call it a night. We had a very long day, so we appreciate you guys swinging by, checking it out. I'm going to let Blake get to what he needs to do. I have another, thing going on after this. So we appreciate you guys checking it out. Appreciate you stopping by the Beat of KC. And as always, have a good day.